What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel for How to Love a Battered Woman. My name is Nia Renee, and today I'm going to do a video kind of discussing what my life would have been like if I decided to stay in my last relationship. What would my life have been if I decided to stay? All right, you guys, I'm gonna set the scene for you guys, okay? So my previous relationship ended in 2019, February 2019, and we started dating around Memorial Day 2018. So we were together for about 8 months, and that relationship was hell for me. It was hell for me because that was the one. Like, that was the final one. Like, the final person, the final nail in the coffin that gave me the chance and the opportunity to reevaluate a lot of different things in my life. And what I mean by that when I say that is that I felt like there was truly something deeper inside of me. There was truly something deeper within me that continuously felt like I needed to be with people that were abusive. A lot of us have a savior complex about us, and I know that I did. I did a lot, and it's always a sob story of, oh, well, my mom did this, or my dad did this, or my exes did this, and whatever the case is, instead of me being able to look at those as red flags. Like, that is a red flag that the over dramatization of these stories, that there's something happening here. So we met at work, and my daddy always used to say, don't shit where you eat. And it was somebody that I was like, all right, he's grown, you know, he's got a lot going on for him. I have a lot going for me. And so this is a situation where I saw where it could be relationship goals. And it just turned out to be the complete opposite of that. It turned out to be where it was absolutely not relationship goals. And I faked my way through that whole entire relationship. And what I mean when I say I faked my way through that whole entire relationship was that to the outside world, I was faking to the outside world that I was happy and that this was the man of my dreams and that this was my forever and I was going to marry this person. Instead, I was hidden behind fear and just an overall kind of, yeah, it was like fear. I was afraid that I was just going to be the laughing stock of my family, that yet again, she's single. She can't get a man. She can't keep a man. She can't yada, yada, yada. And honestly, you know, there were other surrounding factors as to why I stayed in that relationship as well. And that kind of just makes it difficult for me in that time, because I was also, you know, being gaslit by a family member about needing to stay in a relationship, and I ruin all of my relationships and my drama ruins all these relationships, and that's not okay. Like, that's not okay. Okay, so yeah, I think this was this 2018, and I had just turned 25 years old, and you know, I was like, okay, he's 35. He knows what he wants. He knows what he wants in a woman, and he sees that I have it. And at the time, I was living by myself. I had just gotten my second apartment by myself, which was a really big achievement for me. And, you know, there were a few red flags that I should have paid attention to right off the bat. And this is where I'm going to bring in a little bit of an educational factor to my videos, as well as red flags that you should pay attention to when you are getting to know somebody and you're dating somebody and you're trying to get to know them better. If that person goes out of their way to trash their ex, red flag. And what I mean by that is that, like, you know, oh, my ex is a bitch. My ex did this. My ex did that. They treated me like shit. They never let me do this. They let me do that. And it's constantly, and it's in regular conversations. And they're always speaking about their ex in that way. That is a red flag. You got to pay attention to that. because yes, I talk about my exes and the things that I've been through with my exes, but I never about them that way. I would never speak about them in that manner, and it comes with a lot of different. It's just the way that they speak about them. Yeah, so those were red flags. And there was one instance where, because I had expressed to him that I had been in abusive relationships before and I wasn't going to be in abusive relationships anymore. And, and he mentioned to me that, he was verbally abusive to his ex-girlfriend, but he was verbally abusive to her because there was a language barrier. And so English wasn't her first language. And so he would get frustrated, and so he would try to over explain things, and that came across as verbally abusive. Now, when you're young and naive like myself, or when you're just kind of like, okay, well, I mean, that's reasonable, and you rationalize with that type of behavior, but then you start to see that in your own relationship that they're actually verbally abusive. You gotta pay attention to those things. What makes this story a bit complex for me is that I not only was in a relationship with a full-blown narcissist, but also there were other people in my life that had severe narcissistic tendencies. And so I didn't realize that in that time either. And they were supposed to be a parental figure to me, and so I would go to them for advice, and I would ask for their advice, and it was always met with me being gaslit back. It was always met with me being, you know told that I need to get over the past and I need to let things go and I need to move on, and you're the reason why your relationships don't work out. And so it made it difficult for me to even want to try to find help in the relationship and try to see and find my way through the situation. And it was at the time where, I was making a decent amount of money, but I wasn't making enough money, and rent was going around on the next year, and it was going up by like $200. And so I was foolish enough to move in with him after us being in a relationship for 6 weeks. I know. I know. And him and I both really knew that we were moving in with each other because, well, I was moving in with him because financially I couldn't do it on my own. And he was willing to put me in a situation where I would pay half of what I was paying and the other half would help me get a good savings and be able to really get myself in a great position financially. And here I am thinking like, oh, this is an amazing gesture. I've never had someone do this for me. And the traumatized person in me was like, this is the most amazing thing anybody has ever done to me. Done for me, not to me. Oh, no, of course it was used against me. Of course it was thrown in my face all the time that, I've done everything for you and I've given you everything when, I mean, yeah, realistically, you gave me a roof over my head, but I would have considered that enough to equate to verbal abuse consistently. But who am I? Who am I? And so when I was dating him, I was at the height of, trying to get a lot of answers for my medical situation, trying to figure out where I was health-wise. I had just gotten diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and I was having a very, very hard time with my periods, although I was on birth control. And I was just having a difficult time, constantly being on my period and just feeling like crap all of the time. And that's what made the relationship even more difficult, because I was constantly being berated about not having the sexual intimacy with him that he constantly wanted, like 29/8. He wanted it all of the time. And if I didn't have the ability to do it, or if I wasn't up to it, if I was sick, if I wasn't feeling well, his anger would go to heights that I've never seen anyone's anger go to. I was so scared that no matter what I did, it was just going to make him angry. I'm talking about elaborate, like just lobster tails, steak, filet mignon, just like all of these big meals and gestures trying to overcompensate for my lack of physical intimacy that he wanted. And it didn't matter, because in his eyes, I'm supposed to cook for him and clean for him. As a woman, that's what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. So that put a damper on the relationship. And that was really difficult for me. It was a hard pill for me to swallow, realizing that the person that I was in a relationship with and that I thought that I was in love with and that I thought loved me back only saw me as a sexual object, just someone that that's all he wanted out of me. And that was a really tough pill to swallow. All right, you guys, obviously I'm going to have to probably do multiple parts of this. So stay tuned for part 2, and we'll get to the meat and the potatoes of the reason why I'm wanting to do this video. So stay tuned for part 2. I'm not even going to do my exit part. Just stay tuned for part 2. It's coming.